Hi home cooks! Today I'm in the kitchen making scalloped potatoes.
This is my favorite scalloped potato recipe because of all the rich garlic cream sauce. It's quick and easy to make and always shows up at our house at Easter. It's packed with tender potato layers and melty cheese. You could even do this as a make-ahead casserole and freeze it for later.
This classic casserole has perfectly tender potatoes in a silky homemade garlic cream sauce. It's layered with cheese and baked until golden for the perfect comfort food side dish. It's always a fan favorite at holidays, potlucks, or a cozy family dinner.
So let's get into the kitchen. This is how I make extra creamy scalloped potatoes.
To start this recipe, I'm going to make the sauce. In a sauce pot over medium heat, add 1/3 cup of butter and stir to melt. I'm going to add in 4 cloves of minced garlic and fry it in the butter until it's just starting to color. I'm then just going to remove it from the heat and whisk in 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour. Whisk this together until you have a smooth, thick paste. Then return it to the heat and whisk until you see a few bubbles from it starting to simmer. Then I'm going to whisk in 5 cups of warm milk. I'm going to continue to whisk this over the heat until the mixture starts to thicken and you start to see it come to a simmer. After you start to see the bubbles from it simmering break on the surface, you can remove it from the heat. I'm going to season it with a teaspoon of salt and 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. Now I can set the cream sauce aside and cover it to stay warm while I get on with making the potatoes. I'm going to wash and thinly slice 3 pounds of potatoes. I'm using a mandolin for this, set to an 1/8 inch thickness, but you could also do this with a knife, or you could do this quickly with the disc attachment of a food processor. I'm using russet potatoes here today, but Yukon Gold potatoes are also another great choice. They're both really starchy potatoes and will add to the thick creaminess of the sauce. I'm going to spread 1/3 of the sliced potatoes into the bottom of my large rectangular casserole dish. I'm then going to sprinkle some grated cheese over top of the potatoes. I'm using a mixture of grated cheddar cheese and Swiss cheese here. I'm then going to spread some of the sauce on top of the cheese. Then layer another 1/3 of the potatoes, followed by cheese and then some sauce. And then finally I'm going to spread my last 1/3 of the potatoes, sprinkle on top the remaining cheese, and generously pour on top the rest of the sauce. I'm just going to cover the top of my casserole dish with some foil, and it's ready to get popped into my preheated 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius oven and bake for 45 minutes. Then I'm going to remove the foil and allow the casserole to bake for another 35 minutes or until the top is nicely browned and the potatoes are tender. Remove the casserole from the oven and allow it to cool and set about 8 to 10 minutes. This will allow the creamy sauce to settle and thicken before serving. And just before serving, I'm just going to add a dusting of fresh chopped parsley. But for even more added flavor, you can replace the parsley with some fresh chives. These extra creamy scalloped potatoes are the ultimate comfort food side dish. It bakes up velvety smooth with perfect tender layers. It's everything you love about traditional scalloped potatoes, only creamier, cheesier, and more indulgent. This is always my go-to potato side dish for Easter, but it also pairs perfectly with roast chicken or beef. And since it's so cheesy and extra creamy, there's no need for gravy or any added sauces.
And as always, you can find a link to the full written recipe in the description box below.
Enjoy! If you're a fan of deliciously simple vintage recipes and old-fashioned skills, then you'll want to check out this next video. Thanks for stopping by.